if you would be mentoring somebody on two things. Number one, how to develop that intuition and optimize it for your own happiness. And then number two, how to listen to it, how to know when is intuition speaking to you and when it's just noise.
That's a really good question. You're right. Listening to it is the key, because a lot of people hear it. They'll hear their gut, but will they even act on it? And you might not always. And oftentimes you'll have regret. I've done my best over the years to really avoid regrets. And maybe with that mindset, it has steered me towards greater risk tolerance, is maybe a little bit of a fear of regret.
Mhm.
And I think it kind of a healthy fear, but the need to listen to the small things, and to and to not ignore them, it builds sort of that capability over time. So I once had a client. She was pretty senior, ran a very large HR organization, and I was a mid-level sort of manager type consultant. So I was right at that point where I was a pretty good consultant, but I also kind of thought I knew a lot and maybe didn't. And she was building a org chart for a steering committee presentation she had at a very senior level. And she had two versions of the org chart. And she called me into her office and she said, okay, Ben, here's option A. And here's why I'm looking at option A. And here's option B. And here's why I'm looking at option B. And she says, what do you think? And I gave her total consultant BS. I said, well, option A, I could see why you would do that. That makes good. Option B, oh, that makes really great sense too. Hey, you can't go wrong with either one. And she goes, I am paying a ton of money for you to have an opinion. So you better have an opinion. Mm-hmm. And she was right. And there was a bit of, fear there in not listening to my gut and taking action. And just, those things are connected, right? I did have an opinion. I did have an idea on which one, but instead of facing that fear and putting a stake in the ground and saying, hey, I think it's A, and here's why. What I listened to was, well, what if she judges me and says that that's wrong and she goes with the other one? I mean, that ultimately she needed a sounding board. She needed a different perspective, and I didn't offer that to her. So I think it's those little micro moments along the way that you have to listen to, so that when the big moments arise, you have the courage, and your willingness to stick to your guns, to stick to your gut, and that's okay. And you know what? When you stick to your guns and you listen to your gut, it's defendable. And it's okay if people disagree with you. At least you have an opinion that you believe in, and you can defend and you can articulate, even if the client or the customer or whomever goes a different direction. You can believe that you're standing on solid ground, and that's ultimately what matters most. So, building those skills with those micro moments. At home, I can be a bit amiable. We'll get in the car and we're going to go out to eat, and be like, well, where do you guys want to go eat? And, my wife might say, well, let's go do pizza. My daughter might say, let's go sushi. And my son might say, well, let's go do Mexican. And they'll look at me and be like, well, what do you want, Dad? And I'll be like, whatever y'all want. Well, sometimes it's good just in those moments to just pick, make a decision. Like what you do have an opinion. You do. I do have an idea of what I want to eat. Go ahead and declare it. And then work as a family, work as a team, work as a business to figure out the best solution going forward. So I think intuition, gut, risk, fear, there's some connective tissue with all of that, and learning how to massage and work each of those components are important. They're important for me, and I think they're important for most entrepreneurs.